piano. And I must say, my show.
Almost $300 million.
So the show has come to stay. Mummy na yeso. Na yen chichire o man. Na wonsom oni nipa.
E daddy e Ghana for dia. Enye BP dia. Enye NDC dia. Enye obi bia dia.
President Kufano. Because what to niamam na affecting all this. Full prices now what they buy.
Yeah, I just NDC for car be kwa Ghana card akwaje ndai ni bi kama nasa.
Mene wo kata ya ye ye no nyante ya te de e kina titi pa se kina e titi po wo ba ko fa da ni bi wo ni ben kai me na make a draw
mo pese mo hwe susu a mo ko Facebook na Instagram na YouTube na Twitch GhanaNews TV Anchor FM
ye chia Ghana Food my show is your show because a Ghana in and I show that to me is my show. They don't be asking.
Let me say a tonfish, I won't do the brave you or her. It be koto your monk or her, your fish, beat to say catfish, your catfish or her, your rahu, your barracuda, your tilapia medium. Any your big size, any your red brim or air cleaning dada, any your the ain't clean here, any your fish, egg fish, any your mackerel, any your croaker, any your snappers, clean one, unclean it, and your sea bream. Fish there, I hope you'll be brave. Mean to me, we body cry. You will not be on a one cassava, they give this open yet the open. You dear, your bamo papa, your bamo papa, you give this a better there.
Seni besini fayma miara. Seni miara. Seni besini fayma miara. Seni besini fayma miara. Obrai besini fayma miara. Miara. Endo miara. Seni besini fayma miara. Seni miara. Seni miara.
Our strength in unity, from billion to billion, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Yeah. Victory! Victory is our land. Victory is our land. JJ is a winner. Of the trust of the land, power and secure future. People love our God. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable democratic Ghana, our strength to unity. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable democratic Ghana, our strength to unity. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable democratic.
Ghana for Yeramase na yade nchaso kon ede ma obi biara a ohwe Today Ghana News ewo the various channels mo amoshe wo Ghana mo Facebook mo YouTube mo Twitter mo Instagram mo nyina ye chia obi a mo amoshe ya mo hwe ewo Germany, Spain, Italy, Norway, and all the European countries. Our satellite television, so Anchor FM, Munina yede enchia esunkon edumubia. Yebeda the National Communication Bureau as Ayura Summit them fi edano. National Chairman Ayura Chairman Ufusu Ampofu, Deputy Secretary. Lawyer Barbara se wesa mwasa omota jumedi echi se Wednesday bia ye day my show jumedi no ebebremo ene my show so no a special edition said you can say every week bia no with the different dimensions and ebebremo and then was special guest. You can't wait to watch the special guest. Intino said ye die no very kind day first part na dia ba na after that no ye be introduce you yen special guest for the day. Now what is our take for the first edition? Ghana for ye will come her and a president Kufuado. A bra COVID-19 and who's so at Ghana for swat. I put that doko yen of an abia. When you said yamu, I know who you want. From January to say early June. President Kufuado, and I say end of May. President Kufuado had to fool 7 times. The last increment a buyer. Gonna put in the catwalk. Gonna put in the suit. Say President Kufuado anything man. Because Sabre, you know, I am what break. fuel prices when you have to pay now affecting every commodity in the country. It's the next halfway increment now on the buyer affecting increment in all commodities in the country. And then be a buying. And it's my phone in Nara. And my humble. The one of the good for the near PP and put that the utensils or matters of Katramai 0.7. It's not gonna send you a big say, oh, and it's one council, so be the back. Yeah, most of what I was anxious one. And you my boy a day, and they are put up back. Go and check the cost of items, building items, consumable items. Maybe a ton food vendor or ton heading come up. What's the brand? Chicken and the coffee, they buy a dear must to me. Taki, if Taki, and I'm a dear day, a young me, take me buy a dear to send me to it. And in a Duma coffee. I am himself who found the Ghana for Mobro. And then Gretchen, because you come with no quintia. Sir, price now was what is and there was a beer. Who found the beer or the price will be up and at your cash what is or yen double and on the other to you. If you are net, you start to form a liter of water, 6.23. The people echo 6.3. It's your money at Poyanasi by. I want to put Ghana for young would be better. And you my boy, dear, you got Toma and talk, who free and tia, Ghana for Coba and Mel. I drove a phone with 2 or more. Cassie drivers for so. I told drivers for so. And now, you put down to Sabian Cowboys, you saw a condition. Then the room will glass. Therefore, that condition Cowboys and I was a certain condition near room will glass because you went to four to cause a condition there. Four will cause here. I drove a phone to me for gate. And the other bed, none of the good photo I was sent. The Ghana for young say, Sikana, Emba, or Merimono. Yan taxes my year to so the photo you soon year and get out what Timamu phone pack Yankasa. Not yet to know. Probably just up with the good photo. I ran to ya the court Europe. Above Ghana Foka 28 billion old Ghana cities. But this amazing. Every is a private jet video that Ghana for we and one. Ghana for your bed. Now the taxes are the good and so. Who to form no frost left right center. I affected everything in the country. No, see Caniba. The president no at a high of various private jets. Producer of private jet video tour. Now president at a renting those various private jets. That's me catch up say. Some private jets when you gonna for yani metiaka. And only a little yaya to petrol. Anything you to petrol. Omo see a managing resources me here. A buy and to petrol this time. Say I'm managing resources media, president of the resources media, young to petrol this time, and send the burden of the Ghanaians to rent private jet worth £15,000 per hour to travel over $21,000. What presidential jet? Wasteful expenditure. Who we are now the taxes are able Ghana for so. Not Ghana for bread. The ordinary was who come, the ordinary popular woman, on the just tax. We are mobile. I'm not for the 3 bed to 1 Ghana, 500 Ghana. No one had the started to be a The president using 28 billion on Ghana cedis. What you have for us? Or buy you bet me I am a Ghana for an estate. You have to do you. Ghana for and somebody did Kayaka. Last meeting was said. Your family, according to Black, over 2 billion oil revenue unaccounted for since 2017. When you're marketing as an Steve Mantel, or your picture, it is as I'm according to Sikadi Basa, Sikadi Basa, you young lady, a cannot have the program for us. Bad the money to ordinary Ghanaians. Now what's the now you are enjoying luxury as president with your executive. So Gary will be shanty and I'll go and take private jet for 28 billion Ghana cedis. I'll buy and cut 28 billion Ghana cedis. That's all. Say young kind of grand travel we are. Or what is it? And you move to whatever. You can't say your son yet. Now you see a baby. Sikana ya de bomba de ku ade o mode sikana ye enti na me out to the dear no first section and somewhere I'm a person again SAS put the very bus in here buy ya and ya ne connection man na dey ya kokoto bus na ya ton $10 ya dey akoto $19 no o calculate here $5.7 million now you tell for 300,000 doses. $2.7 million are put connection and so $2.7 million no and can't you find your management? I'm an for increment and for my wasteful expenditure. Sikadia basa. You take your tax now with the mark connection and what? You take your tax now with the mark connection and what? And yet, I was up to do your mom. Ghana for ya who will say the truth and someone the that was it Ghana for ya must say you better put the second part of the show now said you may catch them next special edition the show my mama who said every week no special guests your name ebedi common there. Now the topic for the day no about a petition against Dr. Ayine I am ready for the NDC. I am ready for or your law lecturer or your law lecturer keke or your masabedamuni and our also chairman for the subsidiary legislation committee in parliament. Chief Justice Imua a petition the General Legal Council said you Dr. Ayine Simbi. Also I'm NDC as a political party. I a press conference. As someone said, Yobra and the Chief Justice on withdraw some petition now or petition against Dr. Ayine. And someone Chief Justice no I say or did just say Uncle facing discipline committee no. And we here NDC for their ban. And then Yamiadum Yenya special lawyer on the show, MyShow. On that lawyer, long-standing experienced lawyer. And the human work, no question. The question, the profile, the background, cases of a pan attorney. One of the astute lawyers are a war, a member. But we are going to divert a bit. Ghana for Movante, Yabeko Abelfo, Kassamu. So we'll be using the English language because lawyer Nechino Emu MP. So a chief from Pacha yesterday will divert a bit and then change to the English language. So we have on the show lawyer Eric Alifu a long-standing lawyer, an experienced lawyer aside. Lawyer Alifo, counsel, you are welcome to my show on Today Ghana News TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me and for the opportunity to interact with your listeners and viewers.
That's great. That's great. We appreciate your availability for the show this evening. In fact, I lost on the way trying to pronounce your full name, so I'll be grateful if you can help us with the full name so that my viewers can appreciate the full name. There's a middle name of which I omitted, but I would try to plead with you so that you can give us the full name, please.
Yeah, that's correct. The space where you have to put the name is too short for all my names to go there. And
yes.
So you have, yeah, the name is Eric Delano Alifo. Eric
okay.
Delano Alifo. Delano is just like good savior. Dela is savior Jesus Christ. So Delano is like good savior. So
that's great. That's great.
Eric Delano Alifo.
That's great. So we are good to have and most grateful to have Eric Delano Alifo Esquire on our show this evening. So viewers, we are going to have a wonderful interaction and discussion with lawyer Eric Delano Alifo. Lord Counsel,
yes,
I believe you are aware of the fact that Chief Justice has petitioned the General Legal Council over a comment made by Dr. Ayine during CDD program. And we would like to know from your point, your initial comment about the petition against lawyer or Dr. Ayine.
Well, my initial comment, of course, I am aware of the petition by the Chief Justice to the General Legal Council against Dr. Ayine. My initial comment would be that it is very unfortunate. It will stifle the freedom of expression, and this is not something we should encourage. And so we have to resist it. And I'm very glad that various organizations and the individuals are speaking against it. And so we are waiting to see how it goes. But yes, it is not something we should encourage in a democracy. We should allow people to speak their minds freely. And in doing so, they may not always get it right. But that is what democracy is about. We give the opportunity to people to air their views, to criticize if they want to criticize. And I do not see anything wrong that Dr. Ayine has done to warrant the kind of petition the Chief Justice has done against him. And so we are hoping that it will be withdrawn.
Okay. So, lawyer, I don't know how you would take this. Do you think that the comments made by Dr. Ayine, in one way or the other, tend to bastardize the judiciary that it should warrant a petition?
I actually do not think so. I do not think so. He has criticized the court for the conduct in the election petition, the 2020 election petition. If the mere criticism is considered as disparaging the court, then yes, then I think that some people are just being too sensitive. But the comment, and of course, it was a question that was put to him, and my simple view is that if a particular answer is expected, because the question had earlier been put to the other panelists, he was invited as one of the counsel on the side of President John Mahama and NDC. And then there were others, including Mr. Kotoampa and Mr. Yaupon from the side of Nana Akufo-Addo, the President Nana Akufo-Addo. So the same question had earlier been put to Mr. Yaupon, and he answered that yes, the conduct of the judgment, the outcome of the election petition had increased his confidence in the judiciary. And so the same question was put to Dr. Ayine. If they were expecting the same answer that was given by Mr. Yaupon, then the question shouldn't have been put at all. So he didn't share the view of Mr. Yaupon, so he expressed his view. So he said, no, it actually had dampened his spirit or his confidence in the court, and I don't see anything wrong with that. In any case, he has given three solid reasons why he felt so. He may be wrong. Others may see it differently, but that is his view. And I don't think that it should be held to any disciplinary body for investigation about comments like this at all.
Okay, so counsel, let's go into the main issue for the purposes of our viewers who are maybe not privy to the content of the petition. Actually, Chief Justice petition basically is about the fact that the comment or the answer given by Dr. Ayine regarding the independence of our judiciary, and Dr. Ayine making reference to the fact that the court or the Supreme Court did not apply rules of procedure, and then also the court consistent dismissal of application in one way or the other. To him, his confidence in the fact that we have independent judiciary is dampened. So basically, this is the comment made by Dr. Ayine. But according to Chief Justice, it is more or less the same comment that he made during the court proceeding. And then he was charged for contempt and he apologized as such. So why then would he go on a different program and make similar comment? Therefore, he needs to go to the disciplinary committee and answer some questions. So do you think the Chief Justice also have a point here?
No, I don't think he has a point, actually. First of all, the circumstances are different. There are two clear circumstances over here. In the first place, even though I am not saying, and I do not believe that the comments that Dr. Ayine made during the pendency of the election petition, when the hearing was going on, was necessarily contemptuous for him to be hauled to the court and for him to apologize. I do not think so. But the clear difference is that at that time the case was still going on, and the reason why I think it was not wrong was that he only commented on a ruling that the court had made. The court had made a ruling in one of the motions, one of the many applications that the petitioner had made and were dismissed. And so he was commenting on that, and he stated his view, he stated his opinion about how he felt about that. And I don't think it was wrong. But yes, of course, the court claimed that it was contemptuous, and so he was hauled to the court for him to explain. And normally when they take you to the court and claim that you have said something that is contemptuous of the court, it's very, very difficult situation. You can't go there and try to explain yourself. You only have to apologize. I don't think that is a good process anyway. That the same person that accuses you of doing something wrong, you go in front of the person and the person say, come and explain. And the person has already made his mind that you have committed an offense and he's telling you to come and explain. It's going to be difficult. And so normally what happens is that when you go there, you have to only start begging. And it's ridiculous, you know. And I don't know, we have to move from that. But the clear difference is that during that time, the case was going on. Now, the latest comment for which the Chief Justice has petitioned was made after judgment was given, after the case had closed. And it was made at an event, a roundtable event, by a governance, how do you call it, civil society organization that was discussing issues about election petition. The topic was about election petition, and he was invited, and it was after the case had been decided. And so clearly, for those, to put it in a very simple way for everybody to understand, you should know that the two scenarios were different. In the one case, the case was still pending. He commented on a ruling, interlocutory, we call it interlocutory because that was not the final ruling. It was during the process, and one application was made, and he commented on that application. That was it. But this time around, and that one, he was speaking on behalf of his side to the press, to the general public, and he made his comments, and then he stated his opinion based on the ruling. In this other case, it was a program, a roundtable event organized by governance, a body, and to look into election petitions. And so he has to be candid. He has to state his position. He has to be very honest with Ghanaians, the way he felt, and he stated so. And so the two things are different. When decisions are made by the court, people should be free to criticize the decision, and it shouldn't be construed as having disparaged or scandalized the court. There are circumstances and there are things that we do, and everybody will see clearly that you have insulted the court, you have insulted the judges, you have threatened them, or you have even made false allegations. But when you state your opinion about the decision, it should be separated from some of these other issues which would land you in
Okay. Okay, so Council, I was really coming to ask about a legal view, a court proceeding and a comment which could warrant contempt. And then after court ruling, and then you making similar or same comment. The difference. So assuming the statement or the comment made by Dr. Ayine during the court proceeding, whereby he was charged for contempt, the same comment he made during a CDD program, you think there's a justification for him to be called to the General Legal Counsel? Because you explained a bit, but I want a further clarification on, because there are dissenting views out there that when a court proceeding is going on and you make a comment which will be prejudicial, you can be charged for contempt. But when there's a ruling, after the ruling comes and then anybody makes similar comment, is there any legal basis for someone to be charged for contempt?
No, you see, in the first place, as I stated earlier, I'm receiving a feedback.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, let's go. Okay. We are having some.
I said that even the comment Dr. Ayine made during the case, in my opinion, I do not think that it was contemptuous anyway. It was prejudicial to the case. But you see, the difference is that, you see, there's something we call the sub judice rule. The sub judice, what sub judice simply means is that the case is before a court. If a case is before a court, then the matter is sub judice. Now, if it is sub judice, and you see, this is a general public, we may not know all of this. And so if the general public, if people from the general public commit some of these offenses, they shouldn't even be harassed at all, because they will not know, and they actually do not know some of these things. But for professionals, if you actually violate them, there should be a problem. So the sub judice rule is that when a matter is before a court and the judge is hearing the matter, then people must not engage in the kind of discussions that would affect or that would influence the determination of the case. In fact, we have to be very careful. The rule does not prescribe a total blackout, or the rule does not say that we should not, does not prescribe total discussion of the matter, but it shouldn't be discussed in a manner that would influence the judgment in one way or the other. You cannot go into the matter, the details of the matter, and the evidence where the matter has not yet been decided, and give this evidence and all the evidence, and then predict that this is, I don't know if the right word is predict, or you shouldn't make a discussion that would actually
impact
go
the
down to
outcome
the root of the matter, and then yes. So that is the rule. But you can state your opinion about how the case is going. I think the problem with the statement he made during the case is that the court may feel that once they have not given their final judgment, and they had given the impression that the court was not independent, or the court was not being fair to one side, it was going to prepare the minds of the general public to know that, well, this court is already biased, and so they are going to rule in a particular way. I think that was it. But you see, if you remember that era, there were attempts to gag people from speaking. There were several attempts, and proceedings were televised. If the proceedings were televised, they wanted everybody to see what was going on. Why would you not want them to speak out their minds about it? And I look, I can tell you for sure that in this one, you see, nobody should feel offended, and the justices, if any of them is listening or anybody related to them, they shouldn't feel offended that people may feel that they were being biased or not. It is a feeling of the people. But many people who watched the televised proceedings thought that things were going one-sided, and so they thought the court was biased. If the court was not biased, that is it. They can say that we are not biased. We rule. In fact, they don't have to even explain anything. But people had the right to feel how they felt about it, and they watched it. So if Dr. Ayine stated, so I think that was a fear, because you recall that when it was getting to the end of the matter, there was a letter written on behalf of the court by a senior lawyer, warning the general public, cautioning the general public to be very careful of what you should say about the case and all of that. So you will see during that era, I think the atmosphere, they just wanted to calm situation of people and other people. Yes. So that is it. That's the way they look back.
The letter made through sorry. That's before the final ruling of the whole. Yes. That I understand. Sure.
And some of us criticize that letter. You see, the letter was written by a senior, a respectable senior lawyer on behalf of the court. You know, I don't understand why lawyers will be doing these kind of things. I don't even understand why the court would even want such a letter. But you see, it was condemned roundly, and it didn't work eventually. So as I've explained, during that time, the thinking of the court or the chief justice might be that if he's saying things like this, we have not yet given the final judgment. I didn't hear you quite well. Okay, can you hear me? Can I just go on and make my point? Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead?
Yeah, Counsel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I was making a point. Can you also hear me? There's a little hitch.
Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, oppression of the land, forward and seek your future, development our good, from vision to vision, the NDC shall lead.
Viewers, sorry for the breakup. We had a problem with internet connection. So we have lawyer back in the studio. So, Counsel, I was coming to the point that I haven't gotten this whole media understanding of the fact that when there's a court proceedings and then someone makes a comment, the comment needs to be guided. The comment needs to be cautioned that it will not, in one way or the other, determine the outcome of the court proceeding. In one way, when someone engages in such act, such person can be charged for contempt. But when the ruling has come up, we are free to share our opinion or make our comment. So, looking at what the purpose for the CBD program, in fact, the theme was about the presidential election petitions and their impact on African democracy. So, just as you rightly said, so many people were invited. MPP lawyer was there, NDC lawyer was there. And then astute lawyer like Dr. Ayine, who is a law lecturer, who is a senior lecturer, who is a member of parliament and a chairman of the subsidiary legislation committee in Parliament, and then the question was posed for him to share his opinion, and he shares a harmless opinion, and that will warrant a petition from no other person than the Chief Justice. And just opposing that to the legal, education he just gave us, can someone conclude by saying that this is just a deliberate attempt to, in one way or the other, tame the senior lawyer not to be commenting about the election petition and then other critical legal issues in the country?
I will conclude that we are not in normal times, unfortunately, because this is very strange, and we are being ruled by somebody that was touted to be Democrat and fighter for freedom of expression, for democracy and all of that, and we are not in normal time. That's a very simple way that I can put it, but we can correct things, and we hope that those who are in charge should take steps to correct some of these things. So it's ridiculous, and and you don't see, and I may get into trouble, but I still just have to say the Ghana Bar Association, they are quiet, they don't speak. We all belong to the bar, but we are not inspired by them at all with their silence, complete silence on some of the egregious things that are going on in the legal sector and the governance system and all of that, But as soon as government changes, you see them. They'll be very vibrant. They'll be speaking about the listing. They will come out, issue statements and all of that. That is not how our democracy will grow. You see, so it is like the institutions support only one side, and so if that side is in power, then they can do anything with impunity. And then the rest of us can complain as much as we want and as long as we want, and nothing is going to happen. It is very, very unfair. And the judiciary is positioned to moderate and to enforce the law in situations like this. And if they are also failing us, which the evidence suggests so in many, many instances, then it's very unfortunate. We only have to pray that things will change. I don't know. Maybe government itself has to change in the first place. So if government changes and different people are managing these bodies and organizations, and civil society is very strong and speaking out, the youth groups are speaking out strongly, and the political parties are speaking out strongly, I believe that is what is going to improve our democracy. As things stand now, it's not going too well, and I'm not happy, and I believe many people are not happy.
So lawyer, let's go into some of the issues the NDC's press conference spelled out, and then that of what Dr. Ayine said to buttress the fact that our judicial system is quite not independent. One of the critical questions or issues they raised has to do with the fact that during the whole court proceeding, there was a need. There were several applications, interrogatory applications, and other review applications that the petitioner sought for, and all those applications were turned down. Also, there was a point that the electoral commissioner was even subpoenaed to mount the witness box, and then he was not allowed by the court. So according to Dr. Ayine and NDC, there was a deliberate attempt to shield the electoral commissioner not to mount the witness box. Therefore, these are some of the actions that indicate that our judiciary is not independent. Do you agree with this point?
Well, that is his view. If you want me to state my view as well, yeah. But these are worrying, the way he put it, the three solid points that he made. Now, to put it again, I'm mindful of the fact that I'm not speaking not necessarily to lawyers, or not all the listeners are lawyers. The way he put it is that the judges were not faithful to precedents, and precedent is that the courts make their decisions based on earlier decisions, previous decisions in similar matters.
Exactly.
That's how they make their decisions, and even the Supreme Court that can depart from. its previous decisions. If they want to depart, they have to give solid reasons why they are departing from previous decisions. Otherwise, when you go to court, you must be able to predict that this is how similar situations were handled, similar matters or issues were determined. And so that's how, so we even write briefs, addresses, and submissions for the judges, and we cite cases and let them see that this is how the matter was determined before. And so we are expecting that the matter will be determined in the same manner. So the first point he made is that the judges were not faithful to precedents. It means that several of the laid down precedents that we know where the judges departed from all of them, that you can ask for documentation, you can ask for documents to be produced by a party for you to prepare your case, and when they ask, you say no. You can ask questions, interrogatories. When they ask, you say no. But you see, what is even more important is that, or what is even more strange is that all of these decisions were unanimous, and he stated that also. He said the preponderance of the unanimous rulings.
Yes.
All the decisions, all these applications that were made retained with unanimous decision. I remember that in the 2012 election, the very first motion that was filed was for NDC to join, because if you recall, at that time it was only John Mahama that was sued, and then NDC applied to join the case. So that was the very first motion, and that motion was determined by 6-3.
Okay.
6-3.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
6 judges said yes, NDC has to join because it has an interest in the case. So Dr. Ayine's point is that the justices should have the freedom of their mind and to look at the issues by themselves, and they should all express their opinion. Normally, they will have conference, and then they will put a question to them. How do you see it? How do you see it? They all determine their sides, and so there will be majority or minority because it's always odd number. But in this case, even if there were conferences to determine the cases, it would be very difficult for us to tell, because they retained with unanimous decisions in all the applications. And the unanimous decision, there was not a single one that was approved. They always dismissed applications. And so Dr. Ayine, based on that, said no, his confidence was dampened. And that's it. And the third one is that the way he put it, you said it, but the way he actually put it, that the court also failed to assert or to hold the Electoral Commission accountable for its conduct of the 2020 elections. Because the only way they can hold the Electoral Commission accountable is to get the woman in there, to get the chairperson of the Electoral Commission in there. In fact, even if she hadn't even sworn to any affidavit, hadn't even filed anything, she was the one that conducted the elections, and so the court could have held her accountable, bring her. But in this case, she even filed witness statements. She signed affidavits, and she gave the impression that she was ready. She would be questioned when earlier applications were made, and the NDC side wanted some information. They'll say, "Oh, I'll speak to this information anyway." And so the court will also rule and even state that oh yes, we haven't reached that time yet. The person will come and speak, and so we don't have to grant this. And then for all of this, when it gets to the time that the person has to go into the box, then the person said, "I will not go," and the court said, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. We can't force her, And that's not the precedent, because we all know that Dr. Farijan had availed himself. He was cross-examined. And cross-examined, drilled very well, and all of that. So what has changed? And what has changed during the last hearing? So when you put all of this together, everybody has made up their minds. And Dr. Ayine had stated his, because he had opportunity and he had the platform to state. Many of us who don't have the platform to state how we feel about it. If we should have the platform, we'll state that. Perhaps we say things worse than Dr. Ayine has said.
Wow. So, Council, you see, trying to reflect back 2013 election petition, whereby we had Chief Justice George Nawu as the Chief Justice, but on that particular petition or that case, he decided to set himself aside and then allow other people to take charge of that a whole court proceeding. But in this case, and then at the end of the day, we all witnessed how there were dissenting views. the voting pattern. At some point, we had 5-3, 6-1, 5-4, and what have you. So whether so many dissenting views during the court proceedings or the petition for 2013. So people in one way or the other appreciated the independence of the whole Supreme Court of the judiciary. But looking at 2013, 2020, Chief Justice Enim Yabua decided to preside over the petition or the case. And he appointed all the other judges or the panelists for that case. So wherever we had a situation of unanimous decision in almost all the ruling. And based on that, Dr. Ayine conclude by saying that the judicial independence is questionable. When you just put this to that of 2030, would you also agree to the fact that the judicial independence is questionable based on this fact?
Yeah, you see, without being emphatic about that question, what I rather would want the court to understand, which I had expected the Chief Justice to understand, is that all that you have said should make them know that people may think the way Dr. Ayine thought. And if they do and they express it, they shouldn't worry about it. That is the point, because like you said, Chief Justice was the one that presided over the case. In the previous one, the Chief Justice was not on the panel. I'm not here to question why the Chief Justice presided over the panel. I'm not here to also question why certain justices were selected were in panel by not others. I have my own view already about the court, the number of justices that we need to have. I think that there should be a ceiling on it. I stated those before in an article that I wrote in the graphic. That there should be a fixed number of justices and all of that. So that's not what I'm trying to question here right now. This is what we have now. So I'm not going to question the composition of the court for the case or why Chief Justice was there or who selected the justices and all of that. But what I want to say is that the fact that Chief Justice presided and the fact that the decisions were all unanimous, he must know that people may say things that they may not feel happy about. And if they do, they shouldn't necessarily be harassed or intimidated or sent to. That's all I can say. So it is based on some of those things that Dr. Ayine made the question, you see, the thing is that the question was put to him. The question was put to him. And if the question was put to him, if they were expecting only a particular answer, then the question shouldn't have been put at all. But the question was put to him, and he had to answer. Yeah, so he answered, and based on all these factors, and I am saying that everybody, including even the questioner and all of us, should know that, you see, nobody can force us to say that the court was independent or not independent. Nobody can force us. We can have our different opinions. And nobody should blame us for having our different opinions and stating so. And so if the factors, if we have factors that will support the opinions that we have, and we state those factors, nobody should be harassed for that. Like Dr. Ayine, you said, everything came unanimous, you know. Yeah, and then like you added, Chief Justice presided, and so why would you not think that people may say things that he may consider to be disparaging and all of that? So, and if they do, in the democracy, you have to just take it and move on. You see, take it and move on. You don't want to intimidate people and gag them, and so that we don't speak. And then you think that if we don't speak, then you remain and do whatever you want to do. So I would not criticize the court and the panel for the composition or anything, but I can talk about the conduct of the hearing and the decisions that came out and all of that, and how people may feel about it. I feel the same way Dr. Ayine feels about it. He had a platform to express it, and he did. So many people who are not speaking out do not have the platform. If they have the platforms and they are brave enough, they will also say so. And I don't think that if people say so, we should be intimidated and called to General Legal Counsel and threaten our very practice of law in the country and all of that. It's not the best.
Okay, so maybe we should take it that Dr. Ayene's view was sought for on a particular issue, and he simply shared his view or his opinion, and therefore it doesn't warrant
Exactly. That's what happened. Yes.
So let's go into NDC's the press conference once again. That's want to go to page 2 of the press statement. That's last paragraph. I'm reading, then you share your view on that. It states that we must say we are also struck by how positions that the current Chief Justice took in 2012 election petition are completely opposite to his positions in the 2020 election petition. Let me read you a few sentences from Justice of the Supreme Court, as then was Ayine, when he dissented in respect of a ruling concerning whether Electoral Commission should be ordered to produce certain documents. He said, in a serious matter in which the mandate of the entire voters of this country is being tested through the judicial process, one expected the second respondent as the sole body responsible for the conduct of elections to have exhibited utmost degree of candor to assist the court in arriving at the truth. Surprisingly, the second respondent, Electoral Commissioner, opted for filing no pink sheet, leaving the court unassisted, and thereby placing reliance only on the pink sheet supplied to the patient, all the petitioners at the various police stations in the east. While the second respondent elected to deny assistance to a court of law in search of the truth in a monumental case of this nature is beyond my comprehension. I think this must be deprecated in view of the constitutional autonomy granted to it to perform such vital functions under the Constitution for the advancement of our democracy or democratic government. So this is the last paragraph. Yet, in the recent election petition, Chief Justice Ayine dismissed every single application on behalf of the petitioner to have the chairperson of the Electoral Commission assist the court to establish the truth. In 2013, Dr. Afarijan went into the witness box and was subjected to extensive cross-examination. That was not enough for Justice Ayine then. This time, Mrs. J. So he chose not to testify. Thus, this time, Mrs. Jane Mensah, having sworn to a witness statement and sworn to affidavits to the effect that he would be available for cross-examination, chose not to testify. Even an attempt to reopen the case of the petitioners to enable her to subpoena was rejected by the Chief Justice and his colleagues. Why was the conduct of Mrs. Jane Mensah not deprecated? How does the Chief Justice, Justice Ayine, expect Ghanaians to have confidence in his impartiality and fair-mindedness as a judge in the face of this contradictory decisions by him? So in this case, the NDC was trying to refer the Chief Justice to his comment during the 2013 election petition regarding the fact that the first the respondent, which is the Electoral Commissioner, was not allowed to provide some critical document which has to do with the patient to assist the court in the proceedings. And today, by then he was just a member of the panel. Today, he happens to be the Chief Justice. And a similar case was ongoing where he presided. And petitioners were asking the Electoral Commissioner to provide some document to assist the court proceeding. And he said hello and did not allow such to happen. So the NDC was accusing. And would you agree when they say it's an act of double standard here?
Do you seriously want me to comment on this?
We just need your legal advice.
Any more any more competently than the NDC has done. You see, Dr. Ayine said that the court was not faithful, the justices were not faithful to precedent. You see,
Yeah.
even when the same justices or the same when a different panel have ruled and set these guidelines and all of that, the expectation is that that's what corporate. The expectation is that all other panels will follow that. You see, but in this case, they were referring not being a different panel, or we're not even different justice. They were referring the same person who wrote one thing yesterday, and then writing something completely different today. You know, I leave that to everybody to make their own judgment. I'm not going to bear the cat, you know. So NDC has dealt with it, and that's it. So let's look at it. When we do things like this, we must be ready for criticism. We must be ready that people will comment. We can't say that we can do anything and yet nobody should have the right to talk about it. So I'm not going to go any more into that one. So you can bring another issue, please.
On the fact that there is a precedent of people comment. Yeah, I'm saying there's a precedent of lawyers comment after election and the 2013 election petition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after he had some to that institute.
I'm having difficulty hearing you. I think you are making a very good point.
Is it okay now?
I'd love to hear it all.
Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Okay,
yes,
so I was trying to make it perfect the fact that there's an example of people commenting after court ruling, especially election. An example to 2013, after the ruling, we had people like Olaya Sam Okudeto threw down criticizing or sharing their opinion of the court proceeding and the court proceeding. There is an example which has to do with Akoto event in Kumasi, which happened even 60 years ago, and then people still share their view about the ruling then, including the Chief Justice, who sent his representative to go and then speak all these things to justify the fact that it is simply a deliberate attempt to attack some of the NDC outcome of the 2020 election petition, because it's not only Dr. Ayine alone who has been petitioned lawyer Nelson Dafiama. We have lawyer Anan among
Red for Ghana, oppression of the land, for weather and seek your future. Development our God, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Democrat.
Okay, so I hope you got my question. So do you agree with the assertion that looking at all these scenarios, lawyer Nelson Dafiamako, lawyer Amaleva, lawyer David Annan, lawyer Dr. Ayine, all these people are being dragged to the General Legal Council for sharing their view and opinion? Do you think it's an attempt to, in one way or the other, tame some people and then witch hunting? Do you believe in that?
It is like they are telling us that all the fingers are not equal. So
Yes.
although we are in a democracy, or they are telling us that some people are more Ghanaians than others, or some are better lawyers than others, some are, so that is it. It speaks for itself. You can see. So it's like, oh, some people can do worse and go free, and then you can do far less, and you'll be haunted and then intimidated, harassed, and punished, and all of that. That is not the society we want, but clearly that is what we are seeing. And I'm telling you that even the Ghana Bar Association that I belong to, and and if they like this, you invite me, I'll tell the leadership that this is how I feel. That the Ghana Bar Association itself also is behaving the same way. It's like they are telling us that, oh, look, when certain people are in charge, no problem, no problem. Whatever they do, we are okay. But when others are in charge, whatever they do, we are not okay. We shall complain. That is it. Is that the kind of society we want? And the people in the media, they also have taken sides. But they can take sides, but they can just draw the same standard for all of us and then try to hold us accountable. But they don't do it. So that is exactly the problem. We all were witnesses to what Mr. Okujeto said after the 2013 election petition. We all heard it. They are the big guys. They are the ones controlling the system. They are the background doing everything, And so they can say anything and nobody cares, And then somebody like me who knows me, by the time I get out of here, they may be waiting to even punish me now. You said something over there we didn't like and all of that. So that is the Ghana we are in, and it's not right. It's not fair. And people have to rise up and begin to speak about these things more forcefully.
So, counsel, lawyer, would you agree with me that culture of silence is really hitting the Ghana Bar Association? Because at this point, I was expecting to see a statement from the Ghana Bar Association trying to condemn this, because Dr. Ayine was asked a question and he was just asked to share his opinion. And he just shared his harmless opinion. So why is the Chief Justice dragging him to the General Legal Council, of which he is the chairman of the General Legal Council? And in instance like this, the Ghana Association is quiet. So do you think that culture of silence is what is affecting them?
Yes, yes. The culture of silence here is here, and everybody is saying it. But let me tell you something more interesting. When I was discussing the sub judice rule, and I was saying that when the case is pending, the lawyers must be very careful the kind of things they say that may not influence their decision. But when the petitioner in the last election petition was trying to get Mrs. Jean Mensah into the witness box to testify, if you recall, when the arguments had been made in court and the date was set for ruling, there were two lawyers, senior lawyers, who wrote opinions. In fact, they actually wrote judgments. I don't know if you recall that. There were two senior lawyers. They wrote on that particular issue, the way they wrote their opinion to decide the case, that nobody can call Jean Mensah. As far as I'm concerned, that's a classic violation of the sub judice rule, because the court was going to come back in 2 days to rule on that issue. And I'm surprised that I said it on platforms. I mentioned it. In fact, I've done a write-up that I can send to you, a little article that and you see that right at that time I stated it. I don't know if I was wrong, because even in NDC's press statement, I think this is something they should have added. I didn't say it in the press statement. They wrote opinions, comprehensive opinions, and the court could have just used one of those opinions as their ruling, and they also said that the woman did not have to come into the box. So how did this not break the sub judice rule? And then you are rather focusing on somebody who is commenting after the act, after the judgment. It doesn't make sense to me. But that is it. That's what we have. That's what we are all complaining about. And that's why they're harassing, following all of us. It's unfortunate. And we don't have to stop speaking. If we stop speaking, it will get worse. It doesn't matter what is going to happen to us. some may be haunted, some may be punished, some may fall, some may be killed, others will rise up, and we have to continue to defend this democracy, and it shall get better.
Wow, that's great. That's great. In fact, our time is fast spent. This is my last but one question. Would you agree with the NDC that the Chief Justice should withdraw his petition based on the facts laid down?
Yes, 100%, 100%. And it's not only NDC that is asking that they should withdraw their petition. Many people and organizations, even the CDD itself. I don't know. I haven't seen a statement from CDD as an organization, but individual members of CDD, I believe, are spoken on various platforms, and so it should withdraw the. It should withdraw the petition. I support that motion 100%.
Okay, that's great. So my last question, and then you will add your last submission to the whole thing. You see, the issue of the Tadiosori, the statement issued by Tadiosori through that's by the same Supreme Court, trying to caution the media not to comment, a ruling that is not yet out, and then a statement comes out to caution the media how they should comment about it. Would you agree with the MDC that there's a judicial tyranny, and that there is a deliberate attempt by the judiciary and this government to suppress freedom of expression, to suppress freedom of speech, and then people who need to speak out are not speaking? So what would you be your comment on this? And then who are the people? Because I want you to call on some people. Some of these things, when NDC is talking alone, they'll say it's NDC people who have their issue and they are talking. But we have some stakeholders in the country. We have some association groups who, when they speak, it matters, but they are silent. What would be your message for them?
Well, look, my first of all, on Mr. Sorry, is somebody I respect. In fact, just before that time, I had gone to his office and I was looking for some advice on a case I was doing at the Supreme Court, and he was very hearty, very lovely, and he gave me what I needed and advice. I was so disappointed when he wrote that letter. He was writing the letter on behalf of a client, and I'm not going to. But you see, I can't understand why. I had a feeling that all of us lawyers would think in the same way of how we shall entrench our democracy, irrespective of which party is in power. That's what I was thinking until some of these things happened. Then I realized that it's not like that. I don't know if people have interest, ulterior interest and motives. I don't know, but I've just realized that no. Even lawyers, when they tell you that they are lawyers and they believe in democracy, they believe in freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of that. It mostly depends on who is ruling and who is acting and who is violating that. That is what I have seen, and it's very unfortunate. When my party is doing some of these things, I will depart from that. I would advise appropriately, and that's what I think I would do. So yes, that's it. But on the question of the people who should speak, they are there. We know the clergy. They were loudmouth during President Mahamad's era, and this is ring. The clergy. We know them. I don't have to repeat the names over here, and that should not be construed as being timid or afraid of mentioning them. We know them all already. They were speaking out every time, condemning, and then now they are all silent. So I don't know what their conscience tells them, but they should know that they are contributing to the mess. Because if you don't speak, if you are seeing a mess going and you don't speak, you are contributing to the mess. So they can't say that they are not part of it. They are part of it because in the past they spoke and perhaps they influenced some reforms and all of that. Now that they are not speaking and things are getting worse, it is their fault. They are part of it. And if any of them is listening, and I believe you are going to do videos and things like this, I believe when you do it and we put them out, it may get into the ears of some of them. They should know that they are part of the mess. They are contributing to the mess. So they shouldn't just take it that, oh, I just want to be quiet. But Ghana Bar Association is contributing to the mess. Those pastors, whether it's Reverend Notable, whether it is those retired ones and all of them, they are all contributing to the mess. They can't just exclude themselves and say that, no, they are not just part of it. They are. Because if they can speak and things can be corrected and they are refusing to speak, then they are contributing. We should tell them that. And that's the message I'm sending to them.
Some people are saying, this is the last one, that NDC should tread cautiously. The way we are having banter with the judiciary, it will go against us. What would be your legal advice to the NDC? And then in the way forward, and dealing with the judiciary? And then those who think that the NDC is bastardizing or trying to attack the judiciary.
Well, I don't know what the banter the judiciary is. I don't think that NDC is bastardizing the judiciary. I think that NDC is a political party, but a big force in this country, and it has a stake in and the judiciary. You see, they are working for all of us citizens, and so whatever decisions they make in the courts affect all of us, and we have to comment. And I believe NDC has to be responsible. If NDC is going to issue comments, they should be very careful though that they don't disparage, they don't insult judges, they don't threaten judges. But yes, we have to criticize, we have to continue to do that on the way forward, because you see, unfortunately, nobody else is speaking. If nobody else is speaking and NDC also doesn't speak, then things are going to we are going to all fall in a ditch, a big ditch, and then we'll not survive it. And so somebody has to speak. So if nobody is speaking and NDC is speaking, they shouldn't blame NDC. If others are picking up the fight, I believe the NDC would leave some of this and concentrate or focus on some other issues. So I believe that the party should continue to focus generally on governance, generally on what is happening in parliament, what is happening in the executive, what is happening in the judiciary. They should comment when it is necessary. And when they comment, we will scrutinize the comments they are making and see whether the comments are appropriate or not. So for now, I don't think that they are bastardizing the judiciary, and it shouldn't affect NDC in any way, and it shouldn't affect lawyers that are believed to be affiliated with NDC. I saw that part also in NDC's press statement.
Yes,
and,
yes.
There's basis for NDC to say that, whereas I am not going to go all out and say, yeah, they are harassing NDC lawyers. There's good basis for NDC to say that, and nobody can blame the party for saying that. So we have to continue to watch, monitor the environment carefully, and continue to support our people as well. And then run our own party also very well. It's also very, very important, our leadership. They have to run our party very well. They don't have to bully members of our party, encourage us, and allow competition, and allow us to do things in the right manner. They shouldn't intimidate people because people are speaking out too much, because people want to also occupy positions and all of that. So we have to intimidate them. No, it's not time and all of that. We should run our party also with proper democratic tenets. That is the only way that we shall continue to encourage the youth to follow us. And this advice is to the leadership of the party, because every now and then they continue to just put things out there and intimidate everybody, so that we don't know what to do. So everybody, even if you are interested in contesting a position, you have to fold your arms or hide in a corner until one day somebody comes and blow a whistle for you. When our constitution doesn't say so, when the Ghana's constitution gives the right to people to go around anytime they want to go around and tell people that I'm interested in contesting election in 20 years or in 2 years, in 4 years, in 5 years. And now the party, look, so we have to organize our party in a way to attract the youth and to organize the youth very well. I am not seeing that with some of the comments that we are also hearing, and people are really very concerned. And if anybody is listening, and or if you are going to do this thing, they should go out there. So our leaders should also hear this and know that they should not bully us if we are supporting the party. Look, what I'm doing right now, I am, you know it. I'm spending my own money, my own internet, connected by my own phone, my own laptop, my own time here in this night and all of that. Depending on the party, we do it. We grant interviews everywhere. We argue everywhere, every time. And then yet, because we are challenging somebody's interest, they have to harass you. They have to hide somewhere and say that, hey, you can suspend them 10 years. We can punish them, when there's no basis for that. So they look. So we have to run our own party very well. Give me an opportunity, another, so I can speak to this very well.
Yes. Council, in fact, I am most grateful, and then I believe there's a lot that we can discuss as far as the party is concerned. But let me thank you so much for the education given us on the petition against Dr. Ayine. We are most grateful for your time, and I believe in subsequent times we'll be having a wonderful moment whereby we'll discuss more about the party. And now that the party is going through reorganization, and then by next year we'll be looking at the election period and what have you. So we'll be having more time on Today Ghana News on my show, and then we'll discuss more. But for now, we are most grateful for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. I have enjoyed this opportunity, and I wish to have more of it so that we can reach out to people, our supporters, and those who are not even our supporters. We can convince them to understand that we have to practice better democracy, and if they believe NDC will give us that better democracy, then people must be willing to follow NDC, no matter their background. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I hope to be available the next time you want me to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. Yo, Dr. Lawyer Eric Delano Alifo, an astute lawyer, experienced as such. Now, on my end, education, on my end, some legal, analysis on the petitioner, Chief Justice Ede Ako Etia Dr. Ayine. So, in a nutshell, no, the tough aboni and say, I adventure. And that's a question any visa Dr. Ayine. And what chair na be? 2020 election petition, we are willing about. And I see the actual suffering lawyers for be brave. Or be a chair na be. And a Dr. Ayine so chair na be. I will question a visa. Say, oh, be a judicial independence na thing. And what church again, see, I wouldn't say, in judicial independence, no, I touch macra. We are okay, and a Chief Justice, I cannot be a muscle. And a lawyer church, you want me up to say. It was just an opinion I'll share. It is official opinion. You cannot take an answer subject that person to General Legal Council Disciplinary Committee scrutiny. Say the watching now. You know, democratic country, rule of law, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. See, yes, I know we are. If see a come out for Casabua, a show. See a Casabua show, Muyamuswa. Can't mean teacher of money. If you have the judicial service, the judicial system, I hear Chief Justice, and then your boy Edano say, I didn't try and a boy me a teacher of mine. It is a try again. Oh, my, can try. Yes, we not go contrary. Like you said, the year Dr. Ayine a kayen. Bastardizing statement, no. Just objective criticism and what man. They should accept it and take it in good faith. So they be able to strengthen your judicial system. No. Kind of for it must say send so much break. Na money yen I not show you more abedu sabe between. Now me man next week the special one a baba. Now there are so many packages on the table on my show from the NDC chapter, National Communication Bureau. What when this Oba Boa Ama show no Aquan Mobiano, you can call on us, you can contact us, and how best you can assist for this show to go wide. Now, producers also actually you can contact us to assess the show. And I must say, some of us are you come and show. Now, may I don't next week, Ibishia. Who go say the truth? It is you and I. Shalom. Sure.
Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, of a son of the